Hello! I am going to be reading the second book in the Plated Prisoner series today, and that is Glint by Raven Kennedy. Hello! If we have not met, my name is Ileana, and I love books. As you can tell, I love books. I love talking about books, always talking about books, always thinking about books, and sharing my book recommendations and book experiences with fellow book lovers like yourself. So if that's something that you're interested in, definitely go ahead and subscribe because I make book videos like all the time. So with this being the second book in the Plated Prisoner series, there will be spoilers for the first one in this video, but there won't be spoilers for the second one. So you've been warned. Okay, so a quick recap about the first book, Guild, so we can be up to speed about what the heck is going on in this book. So it follows along our main character, Arin, and she is completely made of gold. Gold skin, gold hair, gold irises. The only thing that's not gold is like her teeth and like part of the whites of her eyes. So she is just pure gold. And because she's pure gold, she is basically like a pet to King Midas. Which, if you know the story of King Midas, anything he touches turns to gold. And so she is the only person he has ever kind of like turned to gold that I think has like survived, but eventually she's gonna become a statue. Like the other statues she's surrounded by, like there's like golden birds, and like he's just obsessed with gold, every single thing. Like he collects gold things, or he collects stuff to make them gold and then be like, oh, look at me and all my cool gold stuff, I'm awesome. Like, yeah. And so there are about 7 different kingdoms in this world, and each of them have, as you can guess, a king who rules over them, Midas being one of them because everything he touches turns to gold. There's another one who anything he touches multiplies, which is really interesting. Does not work for people though. Another guy, King Rot, who, as you can guess by his name, he touches stuff and they can just become disease, decay, all that yucky stuff. And there's a bunch of other ones too, but these are the 3 that we've really kind of focused on so far in the first book. And so Arin and King Midas have been basically together for a really, really long time, like even before he was like the king of this area. And she was basically an orphan. He saved her and promised her a better life. And so she lives in a cage because she's like his favored, aka also his pet. And there's a lot of like gaslighting that happens in this book, and like it's just a real toxic relationship because like Midas is not a good person. He is awful, and he has tricked her into thinking she deserves this and that like this is a normal kind of situation and that she should just accept it. And oh, does our girl struggle. Our girl struggles, and she's always looking on the bright side. And she knows deep down that this isn't right, but she also doesn't want to think about it because like she doesn't want to be like, she's ungrateful or anything like that. And that's a big part of her character. And I actually really like her character. She's very real. And so in this book, because she's the king's favored, the only person who's gold, people really want her. They want her for her body. And so Midas has never ever given her up. And so when he makes this deal with the guy who can like duplicate stuff, he's like, okay, yeah, you can have her for one night. And she's like, what the heck? Like super betrayed, all this stuff. Skip forward. The reason she was basically like traded is to get this guy's armies, and they were going to invade King Rot's area for like the minerals, the caves, the mine, and that kind of stuff in his land. But no one has ever beat him before, but they think if they can combine their armies, then they can save the day. Steal. And so they think they won, but then plot twist. Turns out he was never actually going to give up Arin, and he had just used that as a ruse because it turns out that Midas didn't even send his army there. No, he sent his army to where the duplicated guy's kingdom is, and then the duplicated guy tried to break into Rot's kingdom and was annihilated. And then like the guard, who I love, the grumpy guard, I can't remember his name at the moment, but the grumpy guard who's been with Arin forever, he kills the king because he tries to kill Arin. Amazing behavior. And Midas is like, haha, yes, my plan worked. Arin has not been taken, and now we have 2 kingdoms. And she's like, what the heck? Like, this is, huh? So then, now they're all gonna go off to this different kingdom. And so Midas is already gone, and with Arin being like the favored, she ends up going kind of like in secret, in a secret kind of caravan. But then this area, they end up getting like attacked by these snow pirates, which is pretty cool because it's like snowy and they have like ships that they like move in the snow. Pretty cool. And they realize who she is, and it turns out, dun dun dun, King Rot's captain of the guards is there, recognizes Arin, and is like, she's coming with us. And that's how the book ended. Oh, also there's Faye. That was revealed at the end. And that's our recap. So with that, my understanding of this book is probably going to take place immediately after to maybe a couple of days after the events of R and being kidnapped. Oh, also she turned that guy into gold, which was interesting too. So that was cool too. And so I can imagine that she's going to get kidnapped. I have a feeling that like King Rot and like his posse of fae people or whatnot are gonna be the good guys, because there's no way Midas is actually the good guy. Midas sucks. He's worse than Tamlin. And so like with this book, I'm hoping that we're gonna see Auron finally allow herself to realize how bad Midas was. And I know we're gonna get a lot of gaslighting though, because like I think even Midas has deluded himself into thinking like this is normal, and he refuses to lose her, as we saw in like the epilogue. But I think that this book is going to have a lot of self-discovery, especially about like what did he say she was, like a gold finch or something. And that seems to be interesting because like maybe that means she's not the only one. And the more and more I think about it, the more I'm pretty sure she's the one with the gold powers, not Midas. And I think he's using those powers, but it's actually her, because like she's made of gold and she turned that other guy into gold when he was hurting the other like saddle woman who I think is going to be her friend. So it's going to be interesting, and I think that like the wool is going to be pulled over her eyes and she's going to start to be treated like an actual human being and be like, wait, what? But then there's also going to be the complexities of like she's been conditioned for so long to be treated like a pet and to be treated as nothing, and just and she knows it's wrong, but she is so yeah, so that's what I'm kind of expecting. I'm really looking forward to this book. So without further ado, let's just crack it right open and see what it's all about. Okay, so I'm a little bit more than 100 pages into Glint, and here are my thoughts so far. Okay. This book. I love just the prose of this book. It's just so wonderful. There was like one line that I just read before I was like, oh, I gotta do my book update. Is that it was talking about rain, but it was like using rain like how rain was scratching, because like rain doesn't actually scratch, like, you know what I mean? Like it was just a really good metaphor. Not even metaphor. It was just a really good kind of like analogy, and I just thought it was absolutely beautiful. And this book is full of like just really well and creative descriptive things, like how rain was like scratching across the sky or something. It wasn't like that, but it was way better than that, but it was like along the lines of that. And I love it. It's so interesting to see like Auron now that she's in a different kind of area, and she's technically still a prisoner, but she's treated way better than when she was Midas's prisoner. And then of course way better than when she was the snow pirate's prisoner. Like she's actually treated like a person. They feed her, they let her roam around, but they are also like trying to get information from her, obviously. And I really like how it literally just continues off of like where the story was last time. And Commander Rip has got to be the love interest, because again, there's no way it's Midas. Midas sucks. And this guy, he seems like genuinely like shook that all of the stuff happened to her and that she's seems to be okay with it, even though we know she's not, but at the same time she also is. It's very complex, complicated, you know? And he's trying to get like information about her, and I think he's also just kind of interested about like who she is, because he called her Goldfinch, and I don't know now because she said that that's just a nickname, but I don't think so. I think in the same way that like this guy's Faye, she's probably a goldfinch, which is why she's gold. And obviously she wears her gloves and she can turn people and things into gold. So it's like she definitely has the gold touch, and like Midas is just like using her and pretending that it's his. He's got to be. And so like with the goldfinch, she's probably somehow related to Faye, and there's probably like a different kind of like, I don't know, race of Faye, which is what a goldfinch is, but she thinks it's a nickname, but maybe she doesn't actually know the name of what she actually is, but she obviously knows that she's something different. That's my theory. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I love the writing style of this book so far, of this entire series. I love following Arin, and I'm also really actually interested in Queen Millennia, or whatever her name was. At first, I was like, I don't like her at all. But now that she's getting her own chapters, I'm like, you know what? I kind of like her. She kind of slaps. So yeah, definitely having a good time with this book. I'm going to continue to read it, and I'll update you around the halfway mark. So I will see you then. So I'm halfway through Glint, and well, I guess a little bit more than halfway actually at this point. And I'm so into this book. I'm so into this book. I can't believe how much I'm loving Queen Melinda's Melina. I think it's Melina. Her chapters are so good. Like, I've gone from being like, ugh, I don't like her, to, oh my goodness, like, yes, you go. Like, you do it. You're awesome. I love this. Which is like such a surprise to me, because I did not like her in the first book at all. I didn't even know she was going to be like a main character, but I think she is going to be a main character. It seems like it anyway. But of course, my favorite part is, of course, where we are at with Arin, and of course, Commander Rip, which I really hope that we get his real name soon, because I cannot, like, after reading Fae and Alchemy, like with Kinfisher, I can't with these names, my friends. I just can't. Like, please just give them a hot person name. But he's definitely got to be the love interest. And it's really interesting the way that, like, he just riles her up in order for her to feel feelings that she's burying all the time. And there was like the scene where she was like sick, and I was like, oh my goodness, nothing makes me want to kick my feet more than like when the character's sick and then the other character's like, oh, are you sick? And they want to take care of them, but she's like, no, don't do it. I don't want to be taken care of. And I'm like, so yeah, the tension between these two is brewing for sure. For sure, for sure. He definitely like has way more knowledge about even her. I think like whatever this goldfinch thing is, he seems to have knowledge of it, and like we know that he's Fae, so maybe that makes him like more all knowing and stuff. Maybe he knows like what she is, and that's why he's interested in her. But he's like he's protecting her, and she doesn't even notice. And I really like it. Like, just everything about it, and the way that she's just like conflicted constantly, and she knows, like we saw in the first book, like she's conflicted about Midas, and we're getting some good flashbacks about the early days with Midas. And I gotta say, like, those rose tinted glasses, like he does these things that is like, oh my goodness, this is amazing, like he's so kind and loving, but then the other times it's like, what the heck is this man doing? But it's all like merged together, and she sees it as love. But if you've ever been gaslit or in a toxic relationship like that, I feel like you might relate to the situation in this book. But I'm so excited for her to just finally allow herself to grieve, and allow herself to be like, you know what? Midas sucks. And I want her and Commander Rip to get together, which I feel like they will, and for her to just destroy everything that Midas has created, and she will be his downfall. And I just want that so badly. I want that so badly for her. So yeah, we're learning about a bunch of different characters as well, which is really fun. There's some new side characters that I'm really enjoying, some just like different small bits of information and like mystery that's still being unraveled, and it's a vibe, and I'm enjoying it. So I'm going to continue to read this book, and I will update you when I finish it. So I'll see you then. My final thoughts. Last night I finished reading Glint, and I'm telling you, this series is just like, wow, it's so good. Like, I'm honestly really surprised. Like, I really thought that this series was just going to be one of those series that was going to be okay, and that people are hyping it up because they're excited about it. Maybe they never read anything like that. I see it a lot with a lot of the like newer romantasy kind of stories, specifically with like Powerless and the Coral of Bristol Keats, like that kind of stuff. But they're definitely inspired by other stories that I've read. So it's kind of like, oh, I've already read this before. So like when something like this comes out, I'm like, okay, give it a shot because you never know. And I'm so glad that I gave this a shot because this series so far is just so much more than what I expected. I expected it to, of course, still be good, still be enjoyable, but I didn't expect it to just hit the way that this one does and be as just bingeable and emotional as this book is. It's so good. I will say that I actually preferred Auron's character in the first book better than in the second book, which I guess is like, when you think about it, it's like she was like really suppressed in the first book, but I just found her like sweet and kind and stuff like that. And she is still sweet and kind, but she kind of went down that route that a lot of FMCs go down where they just suddenly are just really snarky to the main male protagonist. And I was like, oh, come on. Like, you're not like that with anybody. Why are you suddenly like this? And it's the only thing that I didn't like about this book, to be honest. Because everything else was awesome. I love just like the complex relationship with the Saddles, especially with Risa. That was interesting. I loved being able to learn about like Queen Melina, really get to know her as a character and see what she's doing. I think it's really cool that she gets so many chapters. And I kind of want to see that with Midas too. Like, I don't like Midas and I don't want to like Midas at all. And I don't think he's redeemable at all. But why I want to see his chapters is that I just want to get into his head. I want to see stuff that he's doing. Like, we get his chapter, just like the last page of each of the books, pretty much. We do get a Midas chapter, and you get to see him. You see the way he thinks and the way he sees Auron and stuff. Like, she's a possession to him. And I want to see more of that just because it's so messed up. But I am so excited. This book was just spectacular. I loved being able to see someone who's been hiding in like a literal cage for over 15 years, finally, in a weird way, free of that, but like in the enemy's territory. And it's like the enemy is going to treat her better than her supposed love is treating her. Like, it's messed up. And she deals with that like a lot throughout the book. And I love just watching her slowly like learn about the people around her and the way, oh my goodness, and the way that like a certain reunion scene was done. I'm so excited for her to destroy everything. That's what I want. That's what I need. And that's what she deserves. So yeah, I'm definitely going to have to pick up the rest of the series now because it is a 6-book series. I was like, okay, we're going to buy the first book. Nice. We really liked it. Second book, obviously really liked it as well. So I think we're safe to buy the rest of the series. And it is complete. I didn't look for, like, I also like avoided the spoilers somehow, which is amazing because I just wanted to know, like, is the series done? Or is it going to be like Bridge Kingdom where I have to like wait and it's like tearing apart my soul? But I don't have to wait. Yay! So yeah, gonna continue to read this series, of course. So stay tuned for that if you're enjoying these videos about the Plated Prisoner series. Definitely go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. So today we're going to be awarding Glint a total of 4 stars. Like I mentioned, there's just something so addicting about this. I think it's so well written. I think the world is so interesting. And I love just following the characters and just like really the tough situations that they're in and just the complexities of the human mind and Auron's entire situation and toxic relationship with Midas. I'm just so obsessed with it, and it's just so well done and so well crafted. And there are times where you just want to like reach through the pages and like, honestly, every time Midas shows up or anyone talks about Midas, like the Wonder Commander Rip is like, ugh, every time she mentions Midas, because like, same. Midas is just the worst. And I love just following character growth and character journey. And this series is really going in that direction. And I feel like it's really ramping up to somehow even be better. Like, that's what I'm kind of forecasting based on these 2 books that I have read, that the series is really like, it's given Throne of Glass, and I don't say that lightly. Like, where you have just like, I feel like that's where it's going, in the way that we're gonna get more characters. We're gonna get more of a big epic kind of story. And we're gonna get some good world building. Of course, like the Fae aspects of it too. Like, I'm just so excited, and I have to get the rest of the books because it is just such a wonderful series, and I'm just having such a wonderful time with it. And this, like, if you're reading it, please, please, we need to talk about this series because I need to hear other people and I need to hear what other people think about it because I'm just like so into it. And so obviously I don't have the third book with me at the moment. It will not come for 2 days, which is very sad. So that means in the meantime, we'll be reading a different book, which is Among the Burning Flowers by Samantha Shannon. This is book like zero point 0.2 in the Roots of Chaos series. If you don't know, Priory of the Orange Tree is one of my favorite books of all time. Originally, it was just that book, and then the prequel came out, A Day of Fallen Night, which is equally as amazing. And this, I think, is the prequel to the prequel. So that's really cool. And there's more books like on the way, but this is like amazing, epic dragons and all that good stuff. So I will be reading this next, and I'm really excited about it. So if you're interested in watching me read Among the Burning Flowers, the rest of the Plated Prisoner series, or really any book that happens to be on my never ending TBR, or also really just anything involving books in general, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already, because I love to talk about books and I love to share books with you and hear what you think about books as well. So thanks so much for watching. With that, I'm going to wish you warm wishes and fish kisses, and I'll see you in the next video.